Alright, so I thought I'd do a little tour of the garden here in case anyone's interested. Okay, so first we have red currant. This one is looking a bit, yeah, it's a bit drought stressed, as you can see from the yellow leaves, because it's been very hot and dry lately, and I've tried to water it, but haven't really kept up as well as I suppose I could have. But you can see that it's producing some nice currants here, so I think I'll manage to get a okay harvest anyway. Here we have one of the more ambitious plans or ideas, I guess, some corn. And actually my sort of concept here was to do a little Three Sisters kind of thing. So I have these runner beans down here, and we'll see if those manage to get going into anything worthwhile. And I also have winter squash, kabocha squash, a Japanese winter squash, very nice. The timing got a bit messed up on all this because I was a little sloppy, and we had a late frost in May, and the corn and the winter squash here got pretty damaged. So those got set back a bit. So the plan was for these to be kind of bigger before the rest of these beans started to take off, but it didn't quite work out that way. But live and learn. Here we have some borlotti beans, a nice Italian bean. You can dry them and use them all winter. Very nice stuff. They're just starting to flower over here, so hopefully it won't be too long before we start to get some beans. Here's a little, this is actually overwintered from last year. Italian rocket or rucola or whatever you want to call it, I guess. Everyone seems to have their own little name for it. But yeah, this is a sort of like a rocket or a arugula that grows in the Mediterranean. But we had such a mild winter last winter that it actually managed to overwinter just fine. And here I have the broad beans, or fava beans, as you can also call them. Two different varieties. So the short ones here produce these really nice purple violet seeds, and now I forget the name of the sort, but it's Italian, and violetto is in there somewhere, so something like that. And then these ones are more of the kind of the champion producers. These are called green hangdown, and I've grown these before, and it looks like they're coming along really well, so it should be a nice harvest of broad beans this year. Yeah, here I've got the garlic, three different varieties, Murado, Ducat, and the third one actually is slipping my mind right now, but I'm not going to bore you by looking for the markers. But most of these sent their scapes up about a week ago, so these are definitely well on their way to harvest. And then kind of continuing the onion theme here, I have the near ones here are shallots, and then red onions, and then yellow onions. And I grew these from seed, and I basically followed the approach of a guy named Charles Dowding, who has a really nice YouTube channel. And he basically suggested doing this multi-sown approach where I had maybe 4 or 5 separate seeds sown in each little module, and then I planted them out sometime in May, I guess. It would have been early May. And so according to him, this gives you, well, not as big bulbs as if you grew them separately, obviously, but still decent sized bulbs. And the main attraction for me was like missing out on needing to individually prick out each seedling, which seemed kind of boring and time consuming. So we'll see how this goes, but you can see there are some nice little bulbs starting to form already, so I have pretty good hopes for this. And then last in the kind of onion bed, I have some leeks. This is the first time I've grown leeks. So we'll see how it goes. But these are actually looking pretty nice, I think. The variety is, oh geez, it has some Dutch name. It's like blue-green herfst or something like this. It's supposed to be a semi-late sort, so for harvest in mid to late fall, up to maybe early winter or so. And let's see, what should I go for next? Oh yeah, okay, how about this? So here we have a very beautiful angelica, or Norwegian angelica, I've seen it called. And this one actually is a favorite of mine from hiking in the mountains and the fells. So this one grows all along the mountain chain, the Scandinavian mountain chain, along basically streams and then kind of moist areas with like flowing water. And I mostly grew it because I think it looks really cool, and I think it's a really cool plant. But I think in principle you can also you can use the seeds to flavor brandvin, like this. Yeah, I don't know what that's called in English, but you know, this kind of spirit. And allegedly you can also candy the stalks. So actually I'm thinking of trying to do that soon, although this plant may have gotten a little bit too far into blooming for that to really be optimal. But in any case, it's a beautiful plant, and it's a nice habitat for all kinds of insects, so I'm certainly happy to have it here. And then behind that we have the monster rhubarb. This has been here the whole time since I started growing on this plot, and yeah, it's huge. I can't really take any credit for it. I don't really do much except to cut off the flower stalks. And I mean, I harvest some, but I try to keep the harvest to a reasonable level. And you know, make some rhubarb pie, make some rhubarb mousse. But it's a little bit wasted on me because I'm not the hugest rhubarb person in the universe. But I mean, I like to have a rhubarb pie once or twice a year. So yeah, and I sort of give it away to neighbors too if they want it. Let's see, so here I have kind of like an herb garden. So this stuff actually is I think it's called Egyptian walking onion in English, and in Swedish it's called like air onion basically. And unlike most onions, it makes the bulbs on the top of these stalks, and then eventually these sort of get top heavy and topple over. And then a new onion grows from or a new plant grows from the bulbs that have toppled over onto the ground. So that's a fun one. You can eat the little onions, and you can eat you can use the stems kind of like chives or like green onions. So that's a nice one. And then of course chives, like actual chives, favorite of mine for a long time. And yeah, it's a nice little big, delicious little yeah, what would you call it? Leaves, I guess, little strands. So that's a nice one to have. Got your mint, oregano. Yeah, oregano should be blooming soon. It's always a big hit with the butterflies. This is just something a little bit more unusual. Another one of these weird kind of onion plants that I have. I think this is called sand leek in English, and it makes really nice leaves. You can eat the leaves. That's really the main thing. Use the leaves kind of in salads or whatever it is, so you might, if you like. Here's another one in the mint family. This is bee balm. Yeah, we'll see. It doesn't look like it's getting too close to blooming yet, but it has a really delicious lemon aroma. You can use it in tea and so on. So that's a nice one. What do we got here? Yeah, some sage. This sage I started from seed this past spring. It's not very big yet. Probably won't get too much of a harvest, but I'm hoping to by maybe late summer, as it comes time to harvest the pumpkins, the winter squash, then that'll be big enough to at least harvest a few sprigs to have with the pumpkin. It's a very nice little pumpkin. And here is just basically a mix that I got, like a bee, a bee kind of attracting mix. And I actually don't really know all of what's in here. Here's some kind of poppy. These just started blooming. They're very beautiful, but I don't know. I think it might be. Well, on the package it said something about Chinese forget-me-not, so it might be what that is. And then, yeah, you got some more poppies here and clover. So, I mean, the other point is that it has some clover in it, so it should be fixing some nitrogen and helping to enrich the soil too. So that's kind of the idea behind that one. Little buckwheat here. Yeah, this is another kind of flower mix that I got from a different seed company. These ones are from Lean Blooms, and then these are from Impacta. Yeah, this is actually the second year for these ones. I left it to seed last year and see what would come back. But you can see it's really mostly the poppies that came back. So it's I don't know. It's a little more poppies than I need, I think. But what can you do? And then you have the oxeye daisies here as well. Oh, there's a small tortoiseshell. Quite a few of those on the wing these days. Okay, what else have we got here? Oh, gee, I'm up to 11 minutes. Okay. Yeah, this is another angelica, actually. I don't really need two, but I managed to get two of them from seed, and I didn't have the heart to kill the second one. So there you go, taking up more space than I really should be dedicating to these kind of things, but that's the way it goes. Here you have salsify. This is a unique one, and this makes a root like a carrot. I've never grown this before. I've never eaten it before in my life, but I thought that the roots, they look so wild. They have this sort of Lovecraft vibe to them, and I figured I'd try growing these and see how it turns out. And I think they're supposed to have kind of an oyster taste, so these are called oyster plants sometimes. So we'll see how that goes. Then we have some radicchio. I guess is maybe what you call it in English. I don't really know. Radicchio, yeah. It's like a little bitter. They're supposed to make a tight head in the fall, and then you can use them in salads and stuff. It's nice. I have eaten these before. They're really nice bitter taste. Some spinach, which has gone to seed. I'm gonna try to collect those seeds once they're ready to go. Some carrots, a few different kind of carrots back here. What else we got? Okay, yeah. So over here I have some, this is, what do you call that stuff? Celery. Yeah, wow, losing it. Celery, and just some marigolds. It's kind of a ground cover type of thing. And then here we have, this is actually Romanesco, or broccolo, I guess you can call it. This thing is kind of a cross between the broccoli and cauliflower. Another Romanesco here. And this is a really nice, this is a summer purple sprouting broccoli. That makes a really beautiful broccoli. And yeah, what do we got here? Oh yeah, this is a cardoon. So we'll see how this turns out. Cardoon, you're supposed to be able to eat the stalks. So you blanch the stalks in the late summer and then eat those. And you can see it has these beautiful, huge leaves. It's that's a really cool plant. I don't know how practical it's going to turn out to be to grow this as a vegetable, but I think it looks really cool. So there you go. Some Brussels sprouts here coming along pretty well. Looking a little bit unhappy with all the hot sun, but we're going to have a cold front coming in tonight, so they'll hopefully get a little happier. Some potatoes. I'm not really a huge potato guy, but I guess if you have an allotment in Sweden, then it's a bit obligatory. What else do we have here? Yeah, this kind of doesn't look that nice, but this is like this mound, this Hugo culture, which you can use to grow stuff that maybe want a little more warmth. And here I have some okra. We'll see. It looks like it's actually starting to make some buds there, so I may actually get a little bit of okra. Defy the odds, get some okra. A nice tomato, of course. And finally, one more winter squash. So this is Futsu Black Early, another Japanese winter squash. Beautiful squashes, actually. It tastes really nice. So that'll be a nice one come September. And now we're getting a little towards the end here. But this is my sea buckthorn. So this is my what is it called? They're dioecious. So this is my male bush, and then over here the female bush. And these produce really nice orange berries. A little bit, they're kind of tart, but very nice. And high in vitamin C or whatever it was. And it looks like actually I'm going to get a few little berries this year, so I'm quite pleased about that. These bushes have had a little bit of a complicated life. I planted them in one place, and then for various reasons they needed to be moved, so I moved these last fall. And I wasn't sure if they were going to manage to get produce any berries this year, since they were just uprooted and everything. But it looks like those are actually going to turn out nicely. And then just about last but not least, you got the hops. This one's getting pretty tall. So this is supposedly a dwarf or a miniature variety that get 2 meters tall, so about 6 feet tall. But you can see it's probably closer to 4 meters tall at this point. So we'll see what's going on with that. I guess I won't complain if I get more hops. The more hops, the better. And then let's see. Last but not least, we got the black currant. So another kind of currant. Some nice little berries coming along. Those are not quite as far along. The red currants, and I guess that's about all I have to say for now. I've certainly rambled long enough, so we'll see if anyone made it this far. Alright, bye bye.